So, welcome everyone to Everyone's Doing Better Than Me. I'm here with my co-host who's eating dinner. Want to say her name?
Katharyn. Katharyn. It's very spicy. It's very spicy.
I did that on purpose. I'm such a dick. And my name's Eve Ellen Bogan. I'm a little cunt, I've heard. And I have the mildest of surprises for Katharyn right now. It's a big reveal. I'm wearing your shirt.
Oh, wow. Look at that. I remember that shirt. That's a Marc Jacobs shirt, you know?
I know. It's a t-shirt. God, my boobs look gigantic, don't they?
They really do. They look like two small children. Just.
I feel like my job is like professional breast. Like that's my that's my job. Yeah, no, this is a t-shirt. I mean, you didn't leave the label in it, which is good because if you had, then you probably would have wanted to sell it. So I got to keep it. But I like it because it reminds me of you, but it reminds me of me because it says, "Where is the outrage?" And I think that's like your entire personality. But with you wearing this shirt, it's like the outrage is wearing the shirt. Like that's like you're the outrage, you know?
I stole that from an ex.
Did you?
Yeah. He worked at Marc Jacobs, so we got all this free shit.
Right.
He's one of those fuckers who like moved to New York and like, you know, 1 week in, they were like, you should be a model. And he's like, okay, you know, and then like ended up working at the Ralph Lauren rugby store, followed by Marc Jacobs. And like, he's also divorced now, which is great for me.
And then we could have him on the show and he'll be like, actually, when I was a kid, and we're like, we don't care. Whatever happened, it's good because it gave you character and you don't even have any character. You know what I mean?
We used to smoke meth together, so.
Wait, so this is before you moved to New York or did you smoke meth in New York?
No. We smoked before moving to New York, and then I moved to New York and he moved a month after me. My mom like kind of helped him do that.
This isn't the guy who you went to jail with, is it?
No, different. I've had more than one boyfriend move across the country, and I can tell you it wasn't for the personality. I'm a bit of a handful. But
I just love that it's like,
the pussy.
Oh, well, I've heard that about you, that it's, they're like Katharyn Henson, real nightmare, but sweet, sweet pussy. You know, just the nicest little vagina.
I have a pepper in the back of my throat.
This is so gross to be watching this, and I'm delighting.
I shouldn't have done this. I was eating so fast because I've gotten into my new like meditation. So it's like I get all zenned out, so I can almost choke to death on my dinner, you know?
But somebody, I meditated too, and that's why I was like almost late, but I was exactly on time. You know why? Because I meditate better than you. Jesus, you're blowing your nose.
Sorry. It's covered in spicy shit, man. I feel like I need a cough drop. God, I'm aging just before my eyes.
This is very funny. No, I meditated, but I did a short one. It was 12 minutes, and then I quickly showered and packed. So before you and I spoke earlier today, and I was like, I'm going to go to the gym, and then I was here, and I was like, I have 2 hours. I do not want to go to the fucking gym in these 2 hours. So I showered. I'm the only asshole who showers before the gym. And then it happens to me all the time. It's so annoying because I procrastinate everything. So I procrastinate the gym till the end of the day. But I can't, if I don't shower during the day, I feel disgusting. So I made a promise with myself in the mirror before. I looked myself in the eye and I was like, okay, you are allowed to not go to the gym right now, but you have to go tonight. And I swore I would do it. So there you go.
I've always been in. When I did, I used to belong to the New York Health and Racket Club. That's the Seinfeld gym.
Oh, right.
Actually, yeah, to be honest. So this was one of my big conundrums.
Oh, was it?
With leaving or planning to leave New York. I had such a good deal at that gym. I paid $90 a month for every location. They all had pools and saunas and shit. They were outdated,
right?
Whatever. And I was like thinking, if I'm like relocating to London, I have this like deal I've been grandfathered into, because otherwise it was like $180 a month.
Wait, and how much was it again? Sorry, you said
$90
a month.
Yeah,
that's not a great deal, but okay, continue.
No, but for a gym with like a pool and saunas, and they had like CG Bigelow products and like a million classes. Like I specifically liked swimming.
Did you
big for me.
Did you do these things? Did you go and swim in sauna?
I did. I did. And in fact, when I first joined, I was doing racquetball and squash. I did squash for a while.
Known.
Yeah.
No matter how much you say, like, oh yeah, I lived in New York for so long and I had a hard childhood and I smoked meth. It's like, you are the whitest girl ever. I played squash at the New York Health and Racket Club. Oh, do you?
It was fun. It was fun.
See that coming, white girl. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. And I didn't have the most consistent schedule when I started doing comedy. But the point is I love the gym so much, and I had such a better deal than everybody else for that gym that I was like thinking, can I give up this deal? Like, the deal is so good. But if I'm only in New York like 3 months out of the year, and I can suspend the membership for 3 months, then I'm paying for 6 months of no use. But is it worth the deal? And it was like this whole like equation I was trying to solve. And then COVID happened. All the gyms closed. Somebody bought them all up, turned into something else, and it resolved it for me. So thanks, coronavirus, again.
So did it went out of business?
Yeah, after all those years. I know. I found out because I was still on the squash newsletter. And the squash guy, like, I was like, oh shit, there it goes. So it was really sad though, because I was like, I love that gym. I used to go and do like what I called the executive workout, which was sort of like float in the hot tub and then do a little sauna and a little like, spritz in the steam room.
This is sounding like a real workout thus far.
Yeah, I always wondered, why isn't it working? But and then I would bathe and then I'd walk right across the street. I like the one on the Lower East Side on 45th Street. I'd walk right across the street to a Japanese restaurant called Riki and have dinner. And it was such a really...
None of that was working out. None of it.
I understand. Yeah, I loved it.
This is what upsets me. Like, I just am like, I don't feel it's right that you're so thin and that so are so many. This is what I don't like. And this is not you. But so many
our guest.
So many thin, yes, okay. So many thin people feel like they have it figured out. Because they're like, all you have to do, and you're like, all you have to do is go fucking kill yourself. Because I don't want any advice from you. Not you, but I've
done a lot of meditation today to not be there. So don't you tell me to go back there, because I'll get there right quick. But
it's like, oh, you and your executive workouts? Oh, really? And I'm there like lifting weights and like, do I do the elliptical or do I do the treadmill? And then there's just people who are just like, I don't know. I just smoked meth when I was young and now my metabolism keeps going. I don't know. It just never turned off. And I'm like, well, my mother died and I sat and thought about it for like a long time. And my metabolism was like, yeah, we're just going to hang out here with you forever. So anyway, that's a good story, Katharyn. I'm glad you told it to me. That it feels really nice.
If you're mad about me, you're really going to be mad about our guest, because it's like otherworldly. He has like, I don't know how many abs are actually in the human body, but he has those and then like 100 more.
I saw his Instagram because
his face is made of abs. I swear to God. Yeah. And
his abs are made of little chiseled faces, So it's a weird,
no,
it's like a weird meme. I don't get it.
It's incredible. And I remember one of the first times I went to his house.
What's his name, by the way?
Our guest, yes. It's his name is Kevin William Reed. I'm using the full name because he's like his like initials. He's this artist. He's a painter. He draws. He tattoos. He fucking does it all.
Right.
And when I say does it all, I mean I went over there to look at his home studio. You know what I mean? That's covered in plants and art, and there's just music playing, and it's always good. You know what I mean?
And there's a breeze. There's just a breeze, and you're like, how is it?
The temperature's perfect. Yeah, temperature's perfect. And then I'm like, and this man has like, again, abs on abs. And then there's just baked goods everywhere, cupcakes, cookies, cake. And I'm like, where did all this shit come from? He's like, I made it. I live off of it. And then he like lives off of cookies.
Off of his baked goods?
Adderall and cookies. I swear to God. And
this is what I should have done. I should have done a lot of Adderall from a young age.
You've discouraged me against drugs, but I'm telling you. They do solve. They let you get cookies.
Wait a minute.
For dinner.
Wait a minute. You're like, yeah, they solve everything, but I would be dead without meditation, which, by the way, I got you started on. So I just find this all very fun. Tell me more about staying sane. You're basically you have good advice about staying thin, but I don't.
I don't even know if I do. To be honest, I've yo-yoed. I'm a yo-yoer.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's a pants here. I just burped. God, I wonder if that's gonna pick up.
I feel like everybody can smell your dumpling breath and see the chili in your teeth, which by the way you don't.
My throat is still burning. I just, when you inhale it wrong, because you saw me eating.
Yes. Well, it was funny because I was like, you were like, oh, Mark's gonna give me dumplings. And I'm like, that's cute. I don't care. Like, what's it gonna do? And then I just see you weeping, crying, guzzling water, choking. And I was like, I'm gonna hit record because this is very fun for me.
I mean, you're really not gonna like it, but I'm resist having my bun. Yeah.
Oh, that looks so good. What is that, like a bao or something? What's it called?
No. This one, it's got what's inside this one? Chicken and mushroom.
See, I don't even fuck with that stuff. I eat really healthily, and yet, so I want to know about your yo-yoing because that's gonna make me feel better.
Well, a lot of it had to do with drinking.
Size? What's your biggest size you've been?
I guess my biggest size would have been a couple. Well, first of all, there was definitely when I was 15 when I got out of that program because they fed you to make you gain weight and then you didn't even realize it was happening, right? And then you get out and you're like, who is this? Then why did I eat myself?
This is your only comfort in that horrible prison. Yeah.
It really was actually. My entire day would be dictated by, the cereal was in these turnstile things.
Yeah.
And if you turned it a little to the right before you went to the left, you'd get like more than one turn of cereal, but it was like a trick. So I had to.
Were they limiting you to like?
Yes. You got one turn. You got one turn of cereal.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was totally crazy. Yeah. So like if I got to the granola, the delicious granola, and if I got a turn and a half plus the Boston cream pie Yoplait yogurt, right? The flavor and a Granny Smith apple, then I was like, I'm going to try to have a good day today. Cause I hit all the marks for the best food I could have for breakfast there.
All right. I feel a little bit sad for you. You're winning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't even know. I mean, not that I know we weren't going here, but I might as well. So when I realized I gained so much weight there, like it dawned on me.
What size? You still haven't said what size. I need this.
I don't know. I think, I mean, if you look at photos of me, because I gain it in my face, I was just like my face was a double chin.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. It's like I don't feel good about the abuse you endured, but you being fat makes me kind of happy.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, am I allowed that? Am I allowed to have that?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because I'll be goddamned if I come out of this coronavirus lockdown fatter than when I went in. I will be goddamned.
Well, I know you haven't. I sent you the clothes that were already tiny and you were like, that's gonna be huge on me, and I was like, walk into the river, Katharyn.
Well, this will blow it might blow your mind. I couldn't so when I realized I gained weight there and I was upset, I was like, fuck. It was right when the Atkins craze was coming out, but we didn't know that because we weren't allowed to read the news. But when I got out, my mom was into it. But this girl there was like, look, just don't eat the carbs anymore. No more cereal, no more like whatever, just do scrambled eggs when they serve them. And they didn't serve them every day. So how they did that was before you all showered, after you did like morning cleaning, they'd be like, all right, raise of hands, who wants scrambled eggs? So if you picked eggs, you had to have eggs. That's it.
Oh my
so
God.
Everybody who wants eggs raises their hand. Then we went and showered, right? And I didn't realize what this meant, But so when you went down for breakfast, if you voted for eggs, you had to have eggs. But we're showering, and it only happened in these rooms next to rooms 3 and 4, I think it was. This woman would yell, screw, one of the staff, screw on your shower heads, which meant it's like where the pipe met the wall and you had to tighten it. Right. So I remember the first time I was like, what does that mean? And they were like, you need to tighten it. And I was like, why? And it was because the pipes apparently where those bathrooms were right above the griddle where our eggs were getting cooked. And the pipes, when they were loose, the water that was draining would drain onto the griddle. And when they told me that, I was like, fat it is. I will not. I can't. But I had to eat eggs that day, right? Because I was like looking at them, and they were so fucking runny, and I couldn't eat scrambled eggs for years after that. Yeah.
That is insane. Like, I mean,
I know. It's so fucked up.
It's so rare that someone tells me a story that makes me feel so many things. I mean, it's like I'm like making fun of you for like, like, oh, good, you were fat, and you're like, yeah. And I was tortured in this like really creative way with like accidental creative ways on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel good about it. I just feel sad sad for you as well. No, that's terrible. That's a horrible story. This was a religious place, wasn't it?
They didn't advertise as religious,
Yeah.
but they were Mormon.
Oh,
everyone, yeah.
I cannot believe that these fucking horrible people,
the Mormons,
well, it's religious. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's so weird. I never associated religious people with being cruel. I just, not since the beheadings of the fucking, what was it called? Oh my God, what was it called in Europe? The Crusades.
You were searching for me and I was searching for anything I learned. I was like,
You're like, did religious people do bad things? What do you mean?
I'm like beheadings. I was like, where can I get one of those? I'm near Europe.
I'm pretty sure they're what the Crusades are kind of famous for. I think. I could have made that up. I don't think so. I know a couple things. I don't know a lot. I know a lot about myself. Doesn't that count? Do I need to know about science to know that I just don't want the vaccine, No, I'm kidding. I'm getting my second dose. I postponed my second dose. I was supposed to be getting it literally right about now. I postponed it till tomorrow because our guest, our fucking chiseled ab prima donna carb eating guest, couldn't do tomorrow. He needed to do today. So I have to get my second dose tomorrow. Oh my God. You're eating that bun like you're trying to give a sneaky blowjob in the corner. Like it looked, because it was like, I could just see like what looked like almost flesh. And if I hadn't seen before that you showed me that you had like a bun in a bowl, I'd be like, are you quickly blowing Mark in the corner of my screen?
Have you ever had one of these buns? Have you ever accidentally eaten the paper?
Yes. I
feel like Mark might have accidentally just eaten the paper. I sort of want to ask him. He's the kind of guy who would accidentally eat the paper.
Ask him.
Hey, Mark, did you know there's paper on the bottom of that bun? Okay. No, he didn't eat the paper.
I love that you're like, he's my husband, but he's really stupid. I love it, but he just eats things because they're on the table. He thinks this is dinner, but Mark, that's a magazine. Don't eat that.
Eats paper. I've definitely almost accidentally eaten the paper, or not almost. I've eaten the paper before, more than once, and I have these a lot. So that's my
right. You're just projecting your inadequacies onto your partner. I want to do a compilation clip for YouTube for whatever Instagram, whatever the kids are using, of you eating and being like so not graceful. Like I really like this about watching you eat, because you're one of those people like who, it's like I said before, that you're like hot but you're too neurotic to enjoy it. It's like you also are like, you're not like there's always like those like hot girls who are cool, and when they eat they like take these big bites and they're like, oh my God, I'm such a guy. But you're not like that. Like it doesn't look good.
This is the bane of my mother's existence. I've watched her see me eat, and she's just like, who is this? She used to say to me at the dinner table, like the way I ate, she's like, you're not gonna get a date with Prince Harry eating like that. And I was like, I don't want to be around anyone named Harry, and like, so I continued to eat like a trucker for the rest of my life. Even now as an adult, she'll be like, Katharyn, smaller bites, please, smaller bite. You don't
really?
Yeah, she'll look at me and be like, why are you eating like this is your last meal?
You're like, because you put me in that fucking hellhole. You put me in like serial Auschwitz, like where I could only have one turn of the turnstile of granola, and I could have eggs fried with shower drain water. Like that's why I'm weird about food, because who knows? You try to take a bite before you find out how it was cooked.
Maybe that is why. Because I don't know. Yeah,
probably. I'm sure. I mean, I'll tell you this, in my house when I was a kid. So my mom wasn't a good cook anyway, so it's not like it would have been different if she were there. But Well, I only remember her making baby food for me from scratch. Oh my God, you and your fucking big dick bun bow thing. This is very funny to me. But I remember my mom making baby food from scratch. She was like mashing up bananas and orange juice. And I remember watching it and being like, it was like the baby equivalent of going, I want to fuck that with my face. It was like a horny feeling for food. You know what I mean? When you're just like, it was just like looking at the most delicious thing in the world. But she then once made the Thanksgiving turkey in that new thing called the microwave. And I was like, I know I found that out about her because it was like, yeah, you just put it in for 2 hours on this setting and it's a turkey dinner. Because of course, in like the late 70s, early 80s, they're like, a microwave, you can cook anything, you know, whatever. And so apparently it was like the whole family came over and it was inedible. But so anyway, it wouldn't have been different if she'd been there. But my childhood like nanny, who took care of us, you know, even before she died, I love her. I still am close to her. We talk regularly, and cooking is like a big part of her life. But my God, it's like it shouldn't be.
I like that you're whispering it as though that's gonna.
She's never gonna listen to this, but I love her so much, and I feel so bad. But like her cooking's so bad, and I just get like she'll give cookies for the holidays, and she like really puts a lot into it, and they're no good. You know, they're not good. So we had the worst food growing up. Like, just like my dad would be like, "Oh yeah, we should be eating more vegetables." So like frozen Brussels sprouts boiled and then served drained with lemon juice. And like he'd be like, we had salad night because we were so unhealthy. So it was like salad night was just the limpest, saddest iceberg lettuce, shaved carrots, like those tomatoes that are so gross, they're like practically white, and then just drowned in like French dressing or some kind of horrible thing with like corn oil and sugar. Like I just grew up thinking that vegetables were the most disgusting things ever. And then every piece of chicken I ate until I was like 18 when I wasn't in a restaurant was like boiled in something. I don't know what it was, but it was so bad. And I think I just was like, when I went to I think Scotland and I started cooking at home for myself, I was like, this is crazy. You can make it good at home. You just need seasonings and a little bit of butter, baby.
Well, see, my mom would make pork tenderloin for dinner, and then I'd be like, I want oatmeal, and I would eat oatmeal in front of the TV for dinner.
Right.
And now my mom makes treats for the dogs. They get homemade dog treats, or excuse me, not the dogs, my sisters, she calls them.
I wonder if she's like left some stuff in the will, and you're like, I wanted that thing, and your mother's like, to my daughter, you know, Tabitha, like, and Tabitha's like an animal or whatever.
Yeah. I named most of the animals. I definitely named a dog Eloise, and
yeah, of course,
and another dog William.
William was the prince who would take you because he's the bald one.
And he was a dog. So yes. And he was a dog.
I love that your mother threatened you, like tried to reform you by, it just shows like how little she understands you by like telling you that you wouldn't get to date Prince Harry because you took big bites.
I was not what I think she expected in a daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I think she thought, I'm getting a little daughter. This is going to be so great. My room was pink.
Oh my God.
I had dolls, like, you know, like the ones made of porcelain and shit. No. And like, yeah. And I would like rip my Barbie's heads off. And like, did you ever have those paddles that had the Velcro ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just take those paddles and knock the Barbie's heads everywhere and shit. I was definitely a weirdo. I would like the girliest thing I did was like lock each dog in the dog pen for like an allotted amount of time while I painted their nails.
The dogs.
The dogs.
That's the girliest thing you did was like abuse your animals.
Well, it was a beauty day. I thought I was doing something nice, you know, but yeah.
And then I know from your show that I saw in Edinburgh that you used to eat dog food.
Yes, those are the dog's food that I ate. Yeah, the ones whose nails I painted.
It's just so funny. You know, my niece is not.
I even forgotten about that. I forgot about that.
Really? I think about that like regularly. When I think about
I think
about who I chose to work with, and I'm like, well, I knew going into this who she was. She told me in her show, you know.
Yeah, the guy I write with, like, he won't even work on that joke with me. He hates it so much.
Really? It's funny.
Yeah. I thought it was funny too. I mean, it wasn't done, but I thought it was. I mean, yeah, I used to eat dog food. I used to use it as like a tool, a threat. Like,
yeah, you threatened to eat it if people tried to like make you do anything.
Yeah.
What did I do?
So I was like, that's a win-win, you know, because the thing is, you know, they don't have to make me do it, or I wouldn't do the thing, but I'd eat the dog food anyway, you know. So
right. Yeah. So for you, like, it's more like if you give me what I want, maybe I won't do this for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, right, if you let me, because would you take dog food over ice cream or ice cream over dog food?
To be honest, I'm not an ice cream kind of gal.
Right.
You know, get me some brownie batter, some raw brownie batter or some shit like that.
If somebody had offered you that, would you have chosen that over the dog food, or were you always going to choose the dog food?
Committed to the bit, man. Dog food. Like I you know, I think like just as a kid, even I was just so like, and maybe that's where the comedy started. You know, I was like into the reaction. I like to see what I could get out of people, you know, like what emotions I could invoke, you know, and not like in a torturing, but you know what I mean? I was kind of like, if I eat this dog food in front of you, are you going to freak out? Cause like, I'm not afraid, you know?
That's so funny. Okay. He's here. I'm going to let him in. Yeah. He's here.
Okay. Is this moment when you're waiting is always just so awkward. You're just like,
I just like watching you be nervous. You're never nervous to talk to me. You don't get that excited, but okay. Okay.
Because you're one of the only people I talk to anymore.
No, I guess the thrill is gone. All right, Katharyn, I'm going to ask you the question. Katharyn Henson, love of my life, Capricorn of hell.
First Capricorn of hell.
First Capricorn, yeah, the head Capricorn of hell.
Thank you.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Who hurt you?
Who hurt me? You know, I met a neighbor this week. His name is Henry. And Henry, I met because he slipped a note under my door that said that there's a noise issue. So of course I was like, it's my weeping, right? That's got to be the problem.
Yeah. It's definitely not sex because you're not.
It's not sex. It's hard to come by these days. It's real depressing over here in lockdown, but it's definitely weeping. So I was like, fuck. So I had to like get myself. I was like, okay, I got to go up there and I got to be like, Henry, I'm going through some shit. I can't quiet it down. It's going to be how loud it's going to be. So I go up there with Mark. And so we're on the second floor. So we go up to the third floor and we don't see his number that he says he's in. He's in 9. We just see the other flats, and then we go up another floor, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, there's no way this motherfucker has a problem with my noise two flights up.
I've heard you cry though, and I think it is feasible. Like, I think that you probably could, because it's a higher noise and that kind of like higher pitch sounds travel.
The frequency, like
you're a dog whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, so I'm like real panicked, and we knock on the door. And we probably look like how we feel, which is just like, please don't let this be a thing. And then he starts to tell us the story of basically, he's like, do you hear this noise? And like, we all listen. And then we lie and say we hear it because we're just so happy the noise is not us. He hears like an invisible frequency of sound that
so he is a werewolf.
Hear. He might be. And
he's a what? So, he's a what?
Werewolf.
A werewolf.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's probably what it is.
Well, he's like, yeah, I mean, duh, obviously. This is just Twilight coronavirus. Yeah. You know?
I'm just here to break the news gently to you.
Yeah.
Well, and so, you know, he's like, I'm going to have an engineer come. It started in the autumn. And I was like, well, we moved in the winter, so whatever. So I was like, okay, we're just happy it's not us. But then the notes keep coming under the fucking door, right? Like, Good Friday, I get a note. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm dealing with my own.
It's like he has risen. Is that what it says? Like,
no, he has died.
The noise has risen. I mean, I ignored that one.
Sorry, I hear those. Okay.
I ignored that note because I was dealing with my own trauma that day, and I didn't have room for Henry's. So then I got another note on Tuesday, and it's just like, it's Henry, please call me about the noise. So when Mark got home, I was like, yo, I need you to like deal with Henry, because like I don't have the space or whatever. So he texts Henry, and Henry's like, can you guys turn off your boiler? I think it's your boiler. And I'm like, how you came to this conclusion, I don't know.
So
and
weird.
Like our guest Kevin, who you've been hearing from a bit, you know, you live in New York, and Eve lives in New York. There's not a single time or place on earth where your neighbor would like knock on your door and be like, can you turn off your boiler? Like, you know, you
don't have
noise
control over your boiler in New York.
Yeah, there's that.
Like it might be illegal to turn off your boiler. It's like heat for the whole fucking building, guy.
Yeah, and you hope that you're in a building that has it, that turns the heat on.
Right.
You wouldn't be like, turn it off. You'd be like, I just, you know, God bless, it's warm today.
Yeah.
Right. And so I turn it off, which I realize is my first mistake. Both Mark and I agreed later that we should have said we turned it off and then not turned it off.
During the recap. Yeah.
Well, because there had to be a recap, because I turned it off, and then Mark was like, we turned it off. And then Henry's like, I do think it's your boiler. Can I come and check? And it's like 8:30 p.m. I'm making dinner, and I'm like, in what universe am I supposed to let a man who hears an invisible noise into my house so he can bring the crazy into my house and decide I'm the one making the noise, right? So then Mark and I have this great debate, because I'm like, I'm not bringing more hell into my life. And Mark's like, we just got to get it over with, you know? And so now we're having like marital drama, and I'm like, let him in the house. And so he like comes in, and we have to move all this furniture so we can get to the boiler. And then he's here 15 minutes, and he's like, can you turn it off? Can you turn it on? He's like, do you hear it? And we're like, no, Henry. And he's like, what about now? And he's like, I don't even know if I can hear the noise. I wish I could say I could hear a difference. Do you hear it now? And I'm like, this man is losing. He is the amalgamation of my entire year in a person who's British, you know, because he's just losing.
At least he's British. At least he's British.
Wait a minute, but has Mark ever actually seen him face to face? Because what if he's not real? Like, what if he's just
Henry?
Yeah, like what if you're having?
We've
what if
both
it's you?
seen him.
I don't
We've
know.
both seen him.
What if you're having a breakdown?
Don't you do this to me? Don't you do that to me right now? I already went through a phase where I thought I was cursed, and I've gotten over that phase. But it
you know that part in Joker when like all of a sudden you realize that the girlfriend is fake and like all and like.
Yeah.
I'm
not even in London.
Right. You're just like in a hospital in New York.
At least you have the power to Zoom.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to hear what this podcast actually sounds like then, if that's the case.
Oh my God, yes.
Or you're like in the hospital that you were in as a teenager. You never got out. Okay, no, that's too upsetting to me. Even
that feels real, actually.
That's like,
I'm a figment of your imagination.
Exactly. If you are Kevin, we are fucked, because you did something to my couch once, and like that. That you can't make up. I know. Yeah.
Okay, I'm like that. We'll get to. Yeah, I've heard this story, and I'm very excited for it. But later.
So Henry, it's TBD. We don't know how. He'll probably join us in marriage counseling at some point when we have to get it, after having to navigate our new child, Henry, on.
Oh my God.
So.
Right. Wow. That does sound like you've been hurt. By Henry.
Yeah.
Who hurt you, Eve? Who hurt you?
Well, funny you should ask, Katharyn. Last week it was a doctor. Kevin, you weren't here. A doctor who rejected looking at my boob, even though I needed him to, and he was old. And I was like, why is he saying no to this? Like, I mean, I have clothes on, but like I'm like, people want to look at my boobs. He didn't want to. And this week it was not a doctor. People do. People, no, I was gonna say people, no one's paid, but someone on Tinder did offer to pay me money once to suck my own toe on FaceTime.
Did you do it?
I said I would, but I wanted him to pay up front, and he couldn't do it because he was a fucking foot fetish person who they never have any money.
No, I sold my socks for a good deal of money once.
See, there you go.
I know. See? I need career advice. But this week it wasn't a doctor, but it was the medical industry, because I got my period this week, and it was unusually excruciating. It was the first day was so painful, and I realized I'm like on the couch and I never have cramps. I'm never in that kind of pain, and I was like, what is happening? And then I remembered that last week I took Plan B. which is like, the morning after pill. And it was like, it was like the shitty generic CVS version, which still costs $40 fucking. I'm like, what?
That's how you know you're alive.
That's when you know you're in America.
What, like Fifth Avenue Ho decided, oh, that's nothing, $40. I'm like, I'm so grateful I have money for condoms. But this time, what happened was I slept with someone for the first time in so long. I mean, it's like so much of this podcast has been about me not being able to have sex with anybody for a year.
Over a year.
I get that.
Yeah, COVID, New York, all this stuff, right? And so I finally
go crazy.
Yeah, I have been going crazy. It's like a joke, but I'm like, listen, you're triggering me. I was seeing someone. We're not seeing each other anymore. But the first time we slept together, it was like that whole fun game of like, where's the condom? I'm like, I know you put it on, and he's like, I put it on, and it's like, oh, let's play the game where we look around the bed as though we don't know that it's buried deep inside of my vagina. And like first time sex, and I'm like doing like that, like a squat or like a warrior one, like digging around.
You're like a detective at a crime scene. You got your hands on your hips, and you're just sort of peering around, like, what can I find?
One hand on my hip, the other one wedged up inside my body, digging around, finding other things I've been missing for years that have become like attached to the wall. You know what I mean? Just like who used to live here? What did they do?
Like an archaeological dig.
Yeah, like those like the sedimentary shell, like in the ocean where like the shells become part of the floor of the thing. Kevin's not liking this, and it really is turning me on. And so anyway, I fished this motherfucker out, and the next day I'm like, I gotta get the fucking morning after pill. I don't have the money for an abortion. I don't want to go through that. So I went and got shitty Plan B, and so when I got my period, like I forgot that your body is just like, well, we don't know if this egg is fertilized, but we are not letting this motherfucker implant in this goddamn uterus. So it's just like, poof, poof, poof. Like it's just like so painful. Or like, it's like someone like shaking out a sheet to get the snakes out. It felt like my whole uterus was
like that it's
like,
snakes. Snakes. Wow, a metaphor.
It was
snakes,
so painful. So that's who literally hurt me this week, like physically hurt me. I'm excited. I'm so excited that for our guest.
I'm more excited.
Okay, all right. He's your friend.
I had to be the winner.
God, I'm trying to like have like a moment to like bond with a new person, And you're like, well, he's mine. Okay, fine.
Not on her watch.
So yeah, seriously. So, Kevin William Reed, that's your middle name, is William?
It is.
Because Katharyn made such a big deal about your phone.
3 British first names.
Oh, right. Kevin William.
It's a rough life.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to go into like how I'm like, rough life my ass. But
No, rough life was very, very sarcastic.
Okay, good. I was like, fuck you. I'm looking at you. Anyway.
No.
But this week, who hurt you?
I hurt me.
Did you?
I'm like a really great self-saboteur. Mm-hmm. And like it veils itself in self-care. So it's very easy for a long time to be like, I'm caring for myself by watching every movie on HBO Max that I haven't seen. In reality, 4 days go by and I have 2 days to do all of the drawings for people's tattoos that I normally would do in 6 days because I watched the entire filmography of HBO Max. So I hurt me.
Any recommendations?
Well, I mean, no, I'm just like going through like shit that I like. It's not even like I watched both It's. I watched all 3 Screams. That was today. That's what I was doing before this.
Really?
Watching Courtney Cox in all variations of highlights.
Right. And which Scream? So
1 through 3.
What was your favorite?
Number 1, obviously.
It's so good. I watched it recently.
Four is very good. The most recent one.
I don't think I've seen 4.
It's the first one that got close to number 1.
I have other things going on in my life before I would.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that like doesn't watch TV normally. Like legit is like TV's bad for me and it like ruins my life. And then this week I was like, you know what I want to do? Fucking ruin my life.
Right. I like it.
It was nice. It was nice.
But you know what? I've been going through something similar. I rewatched all of Wild Wild Country. Have you seen that?
Ooh. Yeah, I have seen that.
That's a funny one to do twice. Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I love judging religious or spiritual people because I'm kind of a spiritual person, and seeing people be spiritual and get it wrong. And I'm like, yeah, you just miss your dad. You just miss your father. That's why you followed Osho. And it makes me so happy. I'm like, yeah, you think you're in
I always like the sidekick in those scenarios. Like the one who's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking be here until shit goes down and then I'm going to take over. I'm like, that's me.
Is that you?
Nice.
Don't underestimate you, bitch.
I don't think anybody's underestimating you. I've known you for like 10 minutes and I'm like, people are not underestimating you.
I think people overestimate me, to be honest.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
All right.
Katharyn, it's so upsetting.
I have gripes. I have so many things to say.
I know.
He's your friend.
You need like 3 seconds with him, and then you're like, you hurt me. You have hurt me.
Well, because I was hoping you'd be a dick, honestly. As soon as I saw you, I was like, I hope he's an asshole and I can tell him something mean to his face, but you're like really nice and really attractive. And I am regretting having you on. Okay, Katharyn, you go.
I know.
So I'm the perfect guest for the show, is what you're saying.
Truly.
Totally.
It's upsetting.
Totally.
And so Eve, what you don't know about Kevin, so it's like a talented artist. You might not be able to tell from his tattoos immediately that you see absolutely talented. You draw, he paints, you made sculptures for Timo Wieland. Yeah, he can do all of that. It's very frustrating because my hands are good for masturbation only when I'm holding a vibrator.
But look at my hands. Look at these. They're dumb. This is to scale.
Wait a minute. No. This is the part where you just shut the fuck up and listen, okay? Because because I'm sick of your bullshit. Okay, get to the most obvious thing, Katharyn. Come on, describe him to people.
His physique.
Yes,
he has abs on abs. It's like his muscles have abs on them. And I've been to his house. I went to his house one time. Gorgeous. First of all, it was designed beautifully on the inside, but he had a space for his art, and he had a space outdoors where he had a garden that he tended to himself. And then the only thing to eat around were cupcakes and cookies that he made himself and fuels that rocket fuel body with. Like, that chiseled physique is made of sugar. It's disturbing. It makes me so upsetting.
Tell me something. Do you have like a meditation space in like this kind of place? Like I just like to sit here and connect with my plants. Like, is this included in this kind of space?
My meditation spaces are really just like anywhere I can lie down in corpse pose and think, fuck, because that's pretty much the only way that I meditate these days. But yeah, no, I did a little shrine a while back, and I found that I was too eager to switch things around, and that's kind of like not really the way that those things work.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a little bit. This is like before you came.
I have no zen. I have no chill.
Before you joined the call, Katharyn was telling me about when she used to be fat when she was younger, and I felt a little better. So this is what this is doing for me. Like, when you find out that people who are like look amazing or whatever, like are just not like super happy. That's the thing that makes it. All right, so anyway, Katharyn, I didn't want to derail you. You go ahead, Katharyn. More, yeah.
Well, and he has such a high taste level. Do you know what I mean? Like, he obviously looks stylish. Like, he knows what's going on. I mean, is your hair red right now?
It's still a little reddish. Okay. I don't know. There's like some remnants of the last time I decided to DIY color it.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
and it still looks fantastic. Yeah,
I know, exactly. Yeah. He looks good as a brunette and a blonde,
and I cut my own hair now.
And he cuts his own fucking hair. Fuck you, man.
I haven't seen it.
I know. No, he like looks like he looks like what you go and they like style you for 14 hours and then they're like, now take photos.
Well, you look like Freddie Mercury. Like you look, and
I do get Freddie Mercury sometimes.
And it's so, because I love Freddie Mercury.
Everybody loves Freddie Mercury.
I do too.
And it's and this is the thing. It's not like, oh, he looks like Freddie Mercury, but he's like so stupid. Or do you know what I mean? You see those people who are like, oh, they look like this, but like they just suck. So it's like it doesn't. Yeah. But I'm like, God damn it! And you're like an artist. All right, Katharyn, what else? What else?
He has all those great tattoos. He taught himself how to tattoo by tattooing himself, which is something obviously I can't even put that equation together. Do you know what I mean? Like to sit there and have the will and strength to tattoo your own body. And it's incredible. He's tattooed me, which leads me to the couch situation, which I'll just try to sum up really quick. Like, he came to my house. This was right before coronavirus hit.
I do house calls is the way I tattoo, which is why I
fucking house calls.
Right.
Isn't that incredible?
Sometimes you probably get laid. Sometimes.
Before coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost cried just then because I was like, yeah, that was a thing that happened once.
You see how hard I rolled my eyes though when I was like, sometimes. I wish there was like a sound emoji for my feelings about that. I'm like, oh, did you go and you like tattooed like hot people? And you were like, if you take your shirt off, it'll be easier. And they were like, oh,
well, my rule is we don't fuck after your tattoo, but you can text me.
Wow.
You had a rule. God. You had to come up with a rule. That's how common it is.
Professionalism.
Oh my God. Oh man.
So he's a fucking professional. That's funny. Is that what your business card says?
Fucking professional, yeah.
Sure.
No, yeah, just KWR, and then it's like, no, I won't fuck after the tattoo, but you can text me.
Yeah. Text later if you want to fuck. That's what it says on your card.
Well, you gotta just, listen, consent and honesty are very important.
Oh, great. And he's all into fucking consent. Oh yeah, women really suffer. So this guy's like a feminist, but who's always gotten pussy and didn't even risk getting Me Too'd.
Well, I also mainly sleep with men. It's not exclusively men, but
okay.
So
look at that.
I mean,
that
I don't know
better. I feel better. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Well, because
I'm like the least oppressed of all of the oppressed people, but I still fit a category.
I know. Yeah, you're like, do you identify as gay or like
queer.
bi? Queer.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Just because everybody has ideas about what gay and bi are, and nobody really knows what queer is, so they're like, what? And I'm like, let me tell you, it just means not straight, okay? And they're like,
but do you know how many?
I'm like, yeah, crazy dichotomies.
Shitty queer people I've met, like, and I've met plenty of not shitty queer people, but it's like.
I mean, there's shitty people everywhere. That's like my dad's favorite thing to say. He's like, in every group of population of people, at least 40% are going to be shitty.
Right.
Like, oh, thanks, Dad. Great.
I mean, like straight cis women are so shitty, right? Like I'm a minority. I really am.
I'm right here.
Yeah. And by the way, straight cis Jewish women, the fucking worst. Except when they're in a camp and then they're victims. But I guess
She's Jewish.
I know, but I still can be shocked. Can I not?
Well, if you identify as queer, you would have been there with me, and I appreciate that.
For sure.
So it's like,
especially because I'm the type of queer person that's like, I'm gonna fucking make out in front of the bigots, and then I'm gonna beat them up. But like in the case of the Nazis, they had more bigots than not bigots.
But you would have been one of those people who made it through somehow. You would have been like, I don't know, and you would have still had you would have been an optimist after the war. He'd be like, well, life is for living, or something really trite, and people would have been like, in the words of Kevin William Reed, life is for living.
I think I'm just gonna base my self-esteem and myself after the way you guys talk about me, because it's way better than the way I talk about myself.
I want all of our guests to be you, because it just comes so naturally to me to shit all over you. Like, you know what it is, Katharyn? We need more successful people and more not successful people. Anyway,
I know when they're hot and successful, it's really easy, right? Because I'm just like, oh yes, tell me how it's hard for you.
Totally.
Like who? Not everybody looks good with a gap tooth, but he looks amazing.
I was thinking
it's not just a gap; it's like a full chip.
Yeah, you got
the flea,
whatever, like flea from the toilet.
I fixed it like 10 times, and the dentist this time was like, "You want me to fix it?" And I was like, "Get away from my fucking teeth."
But this is the thing that's funny. You have a chipped gap tooth.
Yeah.
For anybody else, it would be like, oh my God, what are you gonna do about that? And for you, it's just like, it looks fantastic. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
if you were my mother, you'd feel differently about that.
Right. So you have a mother, so he's just rubbing
and
that shit in.
I have a
two
mother.
Parents.
Oh my God.
So both of us, Katharyn and I both, were missing a parent. Katharyn doesn't have a dad. I don't have a mom. And you just come
I can't.
straight out of the gate with like, my loving family
I
loves
was going to tell you that my mother hates everything about me, but
and
really?
Jews. She hates Jews too.
Oh, no, she like.
Sorry.
You had to think though.
She's very kind to everyone except for her progeny.
Really? So is she really mean?
No,
or is it like a joke?
No, she's just like, she means extremely well. But the way that her it comes across to me is like, I'm gonna be the embodiment of your mental anxiety.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you that I hate everything about the way you look, especially, you know, those permanent markings like all over your body and like the chipped tooth and stuff. So she just like really loves to tell me that she doesn't approve of what's happened. And I'm like, I'm covered in tattoos. There's nothing you can do. Can we just not have this conversation? But
does she realize how fuckable you are? Like, does she know? Like,
no,
I don't
she
understand.
definitely, I don't think she knows. I don't think she knows.
Wow, I'm really torn between two emotions right now. Part of me is like, that is so sad. And then part of me is like, oh, like that sounds so difficult for you that it makes me like a little bit wet. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm just like, because it's nice to know that it's not all peachy keen over there. Where are you? Are you in Brooklyn or are you in Manhattan?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Me too. Where are you in Brooklyn?
Clinton Hill.
Oh my God. I'm in, where am I? I'm in Brooklyn Heights.
Oh,
we're neighbors.
You're fancier than me.
No, I'm subletting from someone who's very generous. So
I'm house sitting.
Right.
So you're both effectively homeless. So I guess I'm doing better than both of you on that front.
I think I might have found an apartment for next month, but we're keeping fingers crossed on that one.
I'm literally going after this to go look at an apartment to move into.
Oh my God, I'm sending you all the good vibes.
I can't believe that because I was getting jealous of you. Like, don't fucking take my apartment. And you're just you have so much in you that you're just sharing love. You're like, I want you to find something good. God, what if I'd been like a hot queer man? You know, like what if I just been you? I could probably be happy. Well, anyway, I don't want to jump ahead here. Katharyn, did you have anything else that you wanted to air, or should we let Kevin defend himself?
I think we can unpack some of these things that I've stated today. I think we're ready. Well, also, I'll just throw out, not everybody can pull off a fucking mustache. So kudos to you. There we go.
Thanks.
You look good clean shaven or with the furry.
I like being able to switch it up so that people don't recognize me. But in the age of masks, that's the only advantage I got in COVID. It's like no one's like, hey dude. I'm like, you don't fucking know me. And if you think you do, I'm just gonna act like you don't, and then you still don't know me. And it sucks to be you. But I hate street interactions with people. Even if I really like you, I'm like, oh, this is like not like no.
Wait, can you come close? Can you come close so I can see your eyes? Oh my God. Even your eyes, what are they, like a hazel green or like a light?
They change colors.
No, they don't, do they? Really?
I've had photos taken of me where my eyes look blue or like really, really dark brown, or like if I'm wearing a green shirt, they look like leprechaun green. But they're like kind of poop, diarrhea green most of the time. So
you just put like a little adjective in front of it and think that's
like I'll put poop in front of it and maybe
or like diarrhea green. Oh, what kind of fucking diarrhea?
What I mean. That's what I mean.
Right. No,
like like the diarrhea after like that accompanies a really bad hangover. That color. Sludge.
Wow.
Sludge. I actually have Sludge Life tattooed on me.
I like to call that weight loss green. Weight loss.
Ooh, yeah, no, it definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah, you're like all the water weight is gone.
Yes.
Is that tattoo for diarrhea? Sludge Life?
No, it's actually my best friend Brad, who lives in New Orleans and who saved my life after I was homeless for a bit and got kicked out of the hotel. Kicked out of the hotel that I was doing an installation at because the installation was finished and there was no vacancy at the hotel. And Brad took me in and he was the other person I was tattooing on besides myself when I was teaching myself how to tattoo. And Brad said, I really want to get a Sludge Life tattoo and I want you to do it on my fucking neck. And I said, I will not do that because that's a job killer right there. But what I will do is as a trade-off is I'll tattoo Sludge Life. We'll get matching tattoos. You'll get the color version. I'll get the black and white one. And then it'll be like funnier because there's two of us that has it. And he's like, okay, but you have to get it on your forearm.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I did it. And it's actually that there was a night that I was at my parents' house and I was washing dishes with my mom. And she had seen all the tattoos for a lot, like the new ones for before. And I'd seen her kind of like glancing at Sludge Life and being like, but she stopped. She like literally grabs the dish for me that she was going to dry. I was washing. She slowly turns off the tap handle and she goes, I just have to tell you that none of your tattoos upset me more than that one. And I I was like, why? What's wrong? I don't understand. What's wrong with it? And she was like, I just hate text tattoos.
What? Your mom?
I was like, Ruth. My mom's name is Ruth.
Ruth! That's my middle name. Oh my God.
We called her Ruthifer when we were growing up.
Wow, that really says something if your kids call you Ruthifer.
I think it was mainly me, but like now it's like toying around as like the name of my dad's future boat, which would be so fucking funny. But yeah, no. So she could actually come and like have the conversation with me about how much like the idea of sludge life both confuses her and offends her because she like doesn't fucking know what that shit means.
Right. Right.
So instead, her response was, "I hate text tattoos." Oh,
that's right, because you're like, Mom, you love my other like picture, whatever. Drawing.
Right. Well, and I'm like covered in text on my shoulders, and so it's like, so you hated all the tattoos I got when I was 19 too? I don't know, but it's really just because it's some grimy shit that I have on my forearm.
Ruth sounds like a bit of a cunt, I gotta say.
She's a little intense, and I'm so glad that she has no way to listen to podcasts because, oh man, as soon as I like started talking about her, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to stop. I'm not gonna be able to stop. Right. And like she gets very, very upset at how much we dislike each other, and I'm like, but you dislike me too. So like, if we share a dislike, but we love each other because we're related, then like, fine. Like, see you at holidays. But that's not how she feels about it.
Well, it makes me, I guess, feel a little bit less. I mean, my mother died, so this makes me feel a little bit better, because.
Well, I'm glad that
when you have no mother, you can make up who they would have been. You can be like,
very true, very true.
She would have been an angel who would have loved every tattoo, and I don't even have every text, image, all of it, and she's not, but like your mother's here and she's like, I hate specifically the text ones, but also all of them. And your teeth, by the way, which are in the middle of your face.
When I wear short shorts in the summer, it's like she literally it's like I was like a teenage girl because she like pulls down on the bottom of them. She like really, really hates that I wear short shorts, and I'm like, baby has nice thighs, like let him breathe,
Damn it.
No.
You're making me love you so much that you wear short shorts. I'm like, no, Eve, don't give in. It's real, Katharyn.
He wears short shorts and white underwear, and how I know that is because of what happened. Well, with the couch. Tell the couch story.
Oh my God, I love that you still remember the white underwear connection.
Oh, I remember that, and I remember that because that also involves your dad. Who
taught me this?
Yes,
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
My dad and I have a more simpatico relationship, but he's my parents are still together, and my dad understands that my mom is a crazy person, as am I. I'm kind of like the hyped up opposite version of my mom, and my dad is very good friends with me and loves my mother very much, but also sees how flawed both of us are as individuals. And so it's like always like one of those things where it's like, I understand what you're saying, but I married her, so it's like you that's gonna go. And I'm like, well,
wow.
I'm happy that the person I come from is such a loyal man, but also it hurts a little.
Yeah. Wow.
Because they were the mixing bowl that made you. So
right, and they both like legitimately both very frequently say like, "How the fuck did you come from me?"
Really?
And I'm like, I don't know. You guys fucking boned, and then I popped out, dude. Like, I don't. Tell me that I'm adopted and make me feel better. I don't know.
Are your siblings get along better with your mom, or like? Are they more like your parents?
My brother is like my older brother is exactly what my parents would want in a child. So like
lawyer,
but ad man.
Oh wow, that's what your parents wanted, as an ad man.
Oh, it's not even necessarily about the fact that what his job is. They just wanted him to be good at capitalism. My parents are very, very capitalist, and I obviously have been homeless before. am an anti-capitalist. The whole fucking system is awful, and I'm really happy for my safety and well-being that I am doing better at the capitalist game. But I still kind of hate it, and I still like try and do everything I can to like give my money away and like be like obnoxious with capital now that I have it. And my parents hate it. They're like, why the fuck don't you save money? And I'm like, because I'm probably going to die soon. Like, whatever.
Oh, you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. That's something.
Seriously.
But yet,
I've lost a lot of money during this coronavirus, and I'm just like, well, you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you.
So my brother is their ideal. My sister wants to be their ideal, but has similar fucked up mental things as me. So they're like, she hurts their heart, but they love her profusely, and I just like bother them that I exist.
And you? What's your brother's the oldest? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 3.
Okay, I would say, and your sister's right, so it's perfect. He's them, she's like fighting it, and then there's you.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I think it particularly hurts my mother because up until I was like 11, maybe, I was like her shadow. So like she had this relationship with like little boy me that like was like everything she wanted in another person, which is not okay. Right. And then when I wanted to kind of change that dynamic and kind of pull away a little bit, it turned her on me. And so then I was like, oh, you don't like what I'm doing? Like, I'm going to do literally every fucking thing that bothers you. So like drinking, smoking, like all the things. Like I'm the kid that started smoking cigarettes at 11. You know what I mean? Like just because it like fucking bothered my parents. But yeah, and they thought that me coming out in high school was just another attention grabbing moment, and they keep saying it. They're like, that's why we reacted so badly. It's not because we were homophobic, it's because we just thought you were like looking for more negative attention. Cool.
Oh my god. And where do they live?
Connecticut, like 90 minutes outside of the city.
Wow.
Yeah. That's very, if you had done it like that, very diabolical. You could have been a lawyer acting like that if you had done it in that malicious way.
Right. I'm just gonna suck fucking dick for the rest of high school just to piss you off. Like, man, I want to meet that kid because that kid is awesome. But that wasn't me. I just like wanted to suck dick.
It's funny. My dad always thought that I would do things to punish him, my dad is like, I mean, he is so fucking weird about money. And we would go out, and I've always loved like steak and lobster. So we go out to eat, and he'd be like, get whatever you want. And so I would want to get a steak or lobster. And then he'd be like, you're doing this to punish me. And I'm like, what a creative way to punish you. So like, I never did those things.
Very niche.
So niche, you know, like I only eat lobster to fuck with my father. I mean, it's like,
I hate lobster. But
I love lobster so yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
it offends me. Yeah, I know, as me.
But like, I'm pretending to hate love eating the sea bug because it'll hurt you.
Totally. It's just
parents are fucking weird.
It's such a narcissistic thing to think like, oh, this is about me. But I did, when I went through a very long dry spell in my 20s, I got drunk. I lived in Korea. I called my dad. I came out as gay, which I'm not. I thought I was. It was not just to fuck with him. I really did think I was.
Like, wow, someone did it.
No, exactly. It was me.
And like 3 people on this call.
Exactly. And like I was like, you know, and I hadn't even made out with a woman. I just was like, this is why I haven't had sex. I mean, I didn't tell this to my dad, but I'm like, this is why I haven't had sex in 2 years. I must not be into men, instead of like, oh, I've just had like a weird 2 years. And he was so accepting. He's like, it was his 75th, it was his actual 75th birthday, the day of.
Dad.
I called him and said that, and he was like, you're my daughter. I love you no matter what.
Was he very confused when you took it back?
I never took it back. He just started going, so are you seeing anybody? And he always asks about guys. So I think he knew, like, not that I was fucking with him, because I wasn't, but I think he just knew, like, she doesn't fucking know what she's into.
Well, my parents actually thought that they were justified in their thoughts about this being a ploy, because I didn't come out as queer to them, because no. Like, I just was like, I'm gay because you're going to see me date dudes, because I've dated every girl in this town and there are only gay men left.
And all the girls were weeping.
Well, no, not every girl. Admittedly, there were plenty of girls that were like, no, thank you.
Really?
But yeah, I was a weird, awkward kid, very short.
But you're 6 feet tall now.
Yeah, I grew 7 inches between junior and senior year of high school.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like a little shrimp. But yeah, and so like I went to college and then like did my thing, but hadn't dated anybody serious. So like my parents didn't know it either or about it, and they also weren't asking me questions because they're like, oh, he's dating men, you know. And then I that summer I met the first love of my life, who happens to be a woman, and so for 2 years I dated this beautiful blonde woman who I'm still very good friends with. Her name's Lauren Frances. Love you, Lauren. And my parents were like, oh, so we were fucking right. Like, you were trolling us, like, for sure. And then, like, me and Lauren broke up, and then the next person I brought home was a dude named Lancelot, and they were like, okay, so what the fuck?
Of course,
is
Lancelot.
You're like, I'm gonna pick not just the gay guy, but the gayest name for a guy. Lancelot.
Couldn't have just been Lance. It had to be Lancelot.
No.
The only gayer name is Gaylord. Like, that's the only gay.
I don't know. I still think Dick is a pretty gay name.
Dick is a gay name.
Like, if you're a straight dude whose name is Richard and you're like, call me Dick, you're like, and what porn are you starring in, Dick?
Dick Cheney, baby.
Oh yeah, the most evil. I mean, you're either gay or super evil, or both. Both.
Yeah,
he could be both. He could be both. He's old. You never know.
I know, but I think he's so evil that he has no room for insecurity. Do you know what I mean? He's like,
I agree. Yeah. I mean, he like could have been like a gay conversion therapy or something. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe there's like a pass there.
God, it's okay. I'm thinking. I do want to save room for the tattoo story or whatever, the couch story. Yeah,
because it's pretty good.
But I want to ask, when Katharyn said all these things about you, do you feel like that's like an accurate portray? Like, is that an accurate view of you, or do you feel like? I mean, I know it can't be. Yeah.
So, like, being a person who makes art for a public audience, both tattoos and gallery stuff, I find myself conscious of what other people like, my perception from other people, and so hearing that is nice because that's definitely what I want people to think, like, for sure. Right. But it's not. It's very much like the social media on the surface. Right. This is how I present myself type of scenario, and there's a lot of shit going on that is not shiny or cute. And like I said, I'm a pretty good self-saboteur a lot of the time. So I'm kind of constantly battling myself. And so I appreciate you saying all those lovely things about me. And I think that it's not that they're not true, because I'm not trying to present like a false image of myself, but I do think that they're only this is stuff that I let people see, because I just like generally I'm not as unveiled about struggles in my life. Recently, I was off social media for about 11 months, and I recently came back. My first post was kind of the most upfront I've been about this type of stuff, but I was still like very vague. Like, I didn't go into any details, but was just like, mental health issues, people, like, please don't judge people from the outside. You have no fucking clue what's going on the inside. But I still was pretty vague about it. And then just like fucking clockwork, lost hundreds of followers. Like, just like, oh yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, tons of people liked the post. I got really supportive messages from people I haven't heard from in a really long time. The overall response was good, but it also confirmed to me how fucking shitty social media is, and the reason why I was off of it when I was going through a crisis. You know what I mean? Because like the last thing that my mental health needs during a crisis is like other people fucking judging me. So yeah, I just think that mental health issues in particular, especially someone like me who like presents themselves as kind of like a wild and crazy kid. Like a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, like the weird fucked up parts of your personality, the cool parts. And I'm like, oh yeah, but you haven't actually found out about the weird fucked up parts. You just like are seeing the weird fucked up parts that I'm sharing because I know that you'll interpret them as cool. But there's a whole bunch of other really dark, really terrible shit that like I don't let people know of. And social media is really bad at affirming the fact that people are people, you know?
Yeah. It's never been so eloquently put, because Eve has had to listen to me kind of go through a sort of similar thing of what you're saying while I've been like unable to do what I do, which is perform. You know, I've been in lockdown for a year, like, and you know, you and I've talked, you actually sent me a message and I do want to tell you this, because you sent it to me during one really, really hard part for me, which I won't even get into, but it probably took me through another week of like the worst year of my life. Like,
I've had a couple of those moments with people where I was like, if you hadn't texted me, like I probably wouldn't have existed past that week. So yeah, I'm really glad. And I feel like I don't do it enough because, you know, we're all dealing with our own shit. But sometimes I like break through the sunshine, like into the sunshine, and I'm like, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to send the support that sometimes I feel like I'm missing. But it's hard to remember. Also, we're all going through so much shit right now. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it is hard to remember. And it's like, I don't even remember exactly, but you said something like, you're like, the world needs you. You know what I mean? You said something and I was like, same to you. And it's just like, it reminds me of like the last time I saw you before everything went crazy. You know what I mean? We were very connected when we met initially, because we have like sort of a similar energy, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And we couldn't have even seen what was coming, and that time we were at my house and you were tattooing me and we had our moment with the couch, and it was such a fun moment that felt like it very much encapsulated who we are and what we do and our type of friendship.
Especially because I left my fucking backpack there and I had to like crawl back the next day being like, can I have my backpack?
So what happened with the couch? Okay, then now is a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, everybody listening is like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about?
The lead-in is dramatic.
You really built this up.
It's a pretty fucking good story, though, so we're good.
Yeah, there was cum everywhere. No, so Kevin came to tattoo me. I wanted to get a tattoo before I went to London, and I wanted one of his because he's a friend of mine, and he's so talented. He also did a portrait of me and my dog, which is being saved for me. It's gorgeous. And it's like multimedia. I told him, I was like, I just want it to be this photo and then do what you will. And you picked this color pink that like, I would have never chosen for myself, but so perfectly fit the whole thing. It's my mother loves it. I took a photo and I blew it up and got it printed. So she now has it framed giant photo of it in her house. That's how much she loves it. Oh my God.
Reproductions. So, like, I'm all about it.
It's incredible. Well, yeah. I mean, she was like, he's so good. Like, what's his name? So I knew I wanted the tattoo. So I hit you up and you were coming just in this small window I had before I had to go to a show.
Yeah. And I was like, you were like, I got 2.5 hours. And I was like, that's just the amount of time I need.
Yeah. And so you showed me what you were going to do and it was great. And you were getting all set up and you were like shaking your inks.
No. First. As I'm setting up, you said, don't fucking get anything on my white couch. And I said, I've never gotten anything on anybody's couch, anything. But if you want to be safe, you can go get a towel.
Yes.
Some people like to lay down a towel. It's fine, right? Okay.
Right. So I was getting a towel.
I was like fucking ink. While she's getting the towel, she hasn't even gotten the towel yet. And I did like the number one thing you don't do when you shake a bottle of ink, which is you always put your finger on the cap. And even if it's closed, it's just like a safety precaution. And I didn't do that. And I wasn't looking at this bottle that I was shaking. And as Katharyn comes back into the room with a towel, she goes, what the fuck? And I look over and I had sprayed her entire white couch with like the deepest, darkest black ink that is meant to stay in your fucking skin for the rest of your life.
Forever. And there's ink. It's just like, it's kind of on the walls. I see it like on other parts, but it's all over like one side of this couch. And I'm just like,
and she's looking me in the eye like, I love you, but I'm actually going to murder you in this apartment right now. And I was like, Katharyn, I will fix this. And she's like, okay, I don't want you to have to give me this tattoo for free or like charge you money for this, but like, holy fuck, you just fucked up my whole life. And I was like, we'll figure this out. Also, meanwhile, I'm in $15,000 worth of debt and I'm tattooing in New York to get out of this debt. And I'm looking at a $2,000 couch that I just bought. And so I was like, okay, well, we don't have time to deal with this now because you're about to get tattooed and then go on stage. So we're just going to do this tattoo and I'm going to tell you that everything's going to be fine. So while I tattooed her for what, an hour and a half, she's thinking about this fucking couch that she's laying on.
I'm laying on it. I can see it splattered.
And there's literally like I'm thinking the whole time, like, there's no fucking way that that this is resolvable at all. I just need to get this tattoo on her so at least I have a little bit of this fucking debt paid. So after the tattoo's done, I said, okay, I'm going to try one thing. I wear white underwear all the time. And my dad, who I'd been living with my parents at the time because I was in $15,000 worth of debt and had been homeless previously. And My parents allowed me to come to their house in exchange for berating me every day, which is lovely. And so I was doing that, and my mother happened to notice that my white underwear always had skid marks in them. Real fucking hot, ladies.
God, it's like, why does she have to say anything? Why do you even know that she
Well, no,
noticed?
but the reason why I know this is because then my dad said, and I got him out. I was like, what? My dad is an OxyClean expert. Like from the moment those fucking commercials came on with Billy Blanks, whatever the goddamn his name was, Billy something, you know what I mean? OxyClean. Like from the moment, my dad was like an OxyClean fanatic, and he goes, yeah, it's just all about working it in while it's damp. And so he shows me this very specific method of getting really tough stains out of white things. And so I was like, I have one fucking shot, Katharyn. I will be right back. So I like, oh no, you ran to get the OxyClean.
I had my roommate bring some home.
Oh yeah.
My roommate when the tattoo started, I was like, yo, can you just like get OxyClean? And so of course this motherfucker's like, why? Like what's going on in the apartment? You know? But he brings it home and he just walks in and he like looks in the living room and I'm getting tattooed on a totally stained couch.
On like a fucked couch. Like this couch looks like a goddamn cow. It is not a white couch by any means anymore. It is 101 Dalmatians, black and white, fully. And so we finished the tattoo. She loves the tattoo, but there's still this like air, this hand, this thing in the air. That's like, I love this tattoo, you stupid motherfucker. And so I was like, okay, girl, you're gonna go get dressed for your show because you have about 15 minutes until you have to be there. And I'm gonna just work some OxyClean magic. And 15 minutes later, I tell you, all of the ink was out of this couch, and on top of that, I made her white couch actually fucking white. It was like, you know, like you have a white couch after like 6 years or so, it looks white to your eyes, but like in reality, that's just not white anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So she apparently had a shitty roommate that used to sit on that couch and slob all the time, and he kind of stayed
Axe body spray.
Axe
body spray.
And so on top of getting all of this black ink out, I renewed her couch to brand new, and I left there feeling like a goddamn god.
It was beautiful.
But then I got to the man's house who I was staying with, the guy I was dating at the time, and then immediately realized that I forgot my backpack, which has my computer, all of my drawings, and everything important to me, because I was in such a rush of like adrenaline and excitement that I just grabbed my tattoo shit and ran out of there. So I had to make her wait for me to leave for the airport the next day to get my backpack from her. But I got to see the couch.
Yeah, and he came back. Good. It was spotless. The thing is, and then when he told me the story about his dad and his underwear, and I'm like, you know what, Dad's like never had one. Wish I did. Maybe I could have my fucking couch. You know, but it was so great. Just because, that air, because it was that air of like, I love you, but we both know this doesn't feel good. And then,
I mean, like, if MTV was there filming a reality show, like, we would have been in the season trailer for this reality show. That was like, it gets so fucking dramatic. When two best friends can't fucking stand each other, you know what I mean? Well, it's really just one who feels bad and one who can't stand the other one. But
I love that story. Because the thing is, I was like,
I tell it at like probably half of the clients' houses that I go to, but like after everything is done and cleaned up, I'm like, you know, this one time.
Katharyn had told me that story kind of, but she left out the part that just really makes the story. Katharyn, add this to the story when you tell it, about how she said to you, don't fuck up my couch. And
I forgot about that.
She's going to get the towel.
Yeah.
And you're like, never in my life.
She walked back in the room with the towels in her clutches. I was holding the towel. Like,
and the best part, though,
but also, if you had been a client, because like I do clients who find me through Instagram or word of mouth or whatever, and so like there are times where like, I've been having a conversation with you for a couple weeks about your tattoo. We sent messages back and forth, whatever. But there are times where like I show up to somebody's house and it's legit the first time I've met them. So like I frequently think, the reason why all this was fucked up and my ink wasn't on is because the night before, a friend of mine, Lizzie, who was also who was learning to tattoo at the time, wanted to give me a tattoo, and she had just gotten fired from the shop she was working at for giving people tattoos outside of the shop. And I thought, as someone who taught themselves, I was like, this is egregious. We're gonna go back to your house and you're gonna give me a big fucking tattoo. She was like, oh my god, amazing. But all of her equipment didn't work, so I took all of my fucking precious equipment out of my car and I loaded it into her house. And then for 4 hours, she tattooed me while we were both on like, can we talk about drugs? Copious amounts.
No.
Yeah, have you met me? Have you met me?
I mean, I don't know what the content of this podcast is. But yeah, and so at 5 a.m, I was like, girl, you gotta stop. Like, I'm gonna puke. Like, what the fuck? This is like, we can't do this anymore. You're just like hurting me. And so I went to bed for like 4 hours, and then I had a big meeting with the gallery in Chelsea that day. And so my whole day was kind of this like crazy whirlwind. And so I never checked my kit to make sure that everything was good. I just like threw it back in the car. So on top of it, all of this was because I'm a fucking shithead. And like, don't like at the time was like not treating my professional equipment like professional equipment. Yeah. And if it had been someone that wasn't one of my best friends, I think it would have been the end of my tattooing in people's houses. And luckily she had a little bit of faith.
It was so beautiful. I mean, a true miracle. And just, I mean, I know you probably know a little bit about what's happened to me, but I had to end up selling all my shit in my apartment or trashing the rest, this horrible thing. And that couch has now been purchased by a girl I used to work with at the dungeon. So happy to know that a dominatrix now owns that beautiful stain-free couch.
She was like, it's so white.
Yeah, she's like, it's gorgeous.
This reminds me of my friend's undies. He loves his white
They're just always so clean, and they look new, but he says they're not.
How does he not have skid marks? So many things have like stuck with me. It's like your dad going, you got to get it out while it's damp. So he's got your damp, like your underwear.
He's literally holding my shit in his hands for the first time since I was a tiny baby.
He's like rehydrated your dry shit. You know what I mean? He's like found dry shit. And then the advantage of living with my parents is I did learn how to actually do my laundry correctly, because for years I was just like, you throw it in the machine, you put the fucking shit in the machine, and if something got a stain, it was just stained, and that's like it was until I decided it wasn't anymore. And my mom was like, you can get stains out, and I was like, this sounds like a lot of work, but apparently it's just a little bit of scrubbing. Listen, Ruth, don't fucking tell me. And she's like looking at your tattoos. She's like, you can get stains out of your skin.
I can just scrub them really hard. They'll come off.
Yeah. Just like with that story you told before, though. Well, not sorry, but when you're talking about the mental health stuff, it's funny because, and I'm saying this also because I know that we have to kind of start to wrap up in a minute too, but it's like, I think Katharyn has this thing with social media that I know that people on social media are full of shit, right? Like, it still hurts me that other people are doing stand-up right now. There's a comedy festival in Australia where I used to live. And I see everybody doing this and I'm like, I'm trying to be happy for them, but it's hard, but I wish I could do it, whatever. But Katharyn doesn't, like, I mean, this is not a criticism, Katharyn. She forgets that that's not real, right? But my thing I forget is when I meet someone who's attractive, I'm like, I don't care, like I get just so and it's not like I like live under a bridge. Like, I know that I'm not like a troll or something who I'm just like, oh, if only I didn't have this wart on my, it's like I'm just like a person. But I meet somebody who's like really good looking and I'm just like, you don't have problems, your life is fine. And then I'm listening to you talk about all these things before and I'm like, oh, maybe I am not a good person. I was like, maybe I need to like take it down a notch when I'm just like, oh, you and your fucking looks, and you come into the room and everybody fuck me, and you're like, yeah, like I almost didn't live that week, but you just got to keep going. I'm like, oh, maybe you have feelings too. So
I mean, admittedly, there are definitely certain people in positions of privilege that are like extreme privilege that come with like generational wealth and maybe good looks. But like situations where you're like, I understand that you too go through mental strife, have problems and all these things, but I don't give a fuck about it because all of society, also these people are white, like they have to be white.
Right.
All of society has been built up for like since you killed that brown man and called him your god. Since then, the whole world has been built up that like you're the ones and you get it. And like everyone's like, oh, we live in democracy. And I'm like, no, we still live in a feudal system. It's just shaped differently. And so for those people, I don't give a fuck about your shitty problems. And if you want to kill yourself, maybe it's all for the better.
I did talk to one of my British friends yesterday though, and I was like trying to defend Meghan Markle because I was like, because he's like, but she's like making money off of, and I'm like, well, they're just people, and they're just, and the crown is this, and it would have been hard for Harry and William to see their mother die because, and I was like trying to like deconstruct like what it must be like for like the kids of this royal person, all this. I always will defend someone whose mother died. I'm like, you don't know, and it's like meanwhile they killed her. So, I mean, they didn't, but you know what I mean? Like someone else.
I mean, to be honest, like in a case like that, there's a chance that like the Piers Morgans of the world are right. And like Miss Meghan Markle went into this scenario and was like, I'm just waiting for one of these people to say something racist and like, we're out of here. And then I'm going to make a bunch of money off it. But I think it's very highly unlikely.
I think it's unlikely.
Even if this woman was desperate for stardom and looked at falling in love with Prince Harry as another way to accelerate her career, I don't care. People marry for that shit all the time. It's acceptable, and it's been happening and being forced upon women for fucking millennia. She's allowed to do all of those things.
Yeah.
But I don't think that she's some evil genius. Also, like, is she that smart? Like, that would take like years of planning. Years of like from the very first date with Harry being like, I'm gonna find the fucking racist in the castle.
Totally.
And you know what I mean? So like,
and I'm not gonna name him. I'm not gonna name him. Yeah, right. I'm gonna insinuate.
That's my main reason why I think that it's ridiculous for anybody to attack her on this, because it's just like, dude, like right there proves that like there's no way that this is what she had going on. And also, if you were a person who's been dealing with discrimination your whole fucking life, and then the most famous family in the whole world does it to you, you're gonna fucking take revenge. You're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do it on Oprah. Like,
get that coin, man.
She could have punched someone in the face, or she could go on Oprah and make a lot of fucking money. Totally. Come on.
All right, let me ask you, if you had to pick, like, let's say your number one thing, what do you get jealous of in other people? Or like, what do you know how we're like so.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely like other artists, and now it's become other tattooers where I see work that's equivalent to mine in my head, or I feel like I belong in this group of people, and I've been excluded for whatever reason. A lot of times it's just for nepotism, and in the case of like Instagram and tattooers getting famous, it's literally just the luck of the algorithm, you know what I mean? And I don't choose to shape my social media to be like an artist social media or a tattooer social media. It's like half the time it's like my fucking face looking stupid and saying dumb things, and then the other half the time it's the stuff that I make. And so I think in that way I might be holding myself back from this thing that I'm jealous of, but I also don't know if I really want it. But when I see another tattooer who I don't think, like, who I know is not making work that is good as mine, who has like thousands of likes, and I get like 100, then I'm a little jealous.
This
and
sounds like me.
It's part of the reason why I stopped social media for like that almost year, was because like on top of it being toxic for me, just like participating in it, it was also just like there was these extreme feelings of jealousy for people whose work I actually like really loved in some cases. You know what I mean? Like people who if I had the opportunity, I would be their friend and want to trade tattoos with them. You know what I mean? But because of the way social media sets it up, it's all fucking, it seems like a competition. So when I'm in a dark place, I just think these are my fucking competitors and I want them all to fail. And in reality, I want everyone to succeed because there's technically enough room for all of us. And like it, I know deep down that it doesn't actually have to do with other people's success or my failure or whatever. But social media presents it as like an either or. And so, yeah, it's very easy to just like want to fucking punch someone in the throat because they're doing so well.
I've never had that feeling in my whole life. I'm just happy for everyone, personally, I just don't have any negativity.
Wait, what show am I
on? Like, yeah, of course. You are very, I've been called articulate, but you're exceptionally articulate about the things that haunt me, haunt like,
yeah, and me. Yeah,
Well, to be honest, it's because I've been living in the woods for a year and a half with my fucking parents, so by myself, because I'm like trying to fucking avoid this scenario. Because basically, like these two people want to undo everything that I've created for myself.
Great. That
and so
I've
had a lot of fucking time to think about how I feel about all these things, and to think about if I would even come back. Because like there was a while where I was like, I have enough clients now that word of mouth will be enough to spread my shit and give me enough work as soon as I'm ready to, like, because I'm going to start, my books open back up on May 1st.
Well, I'm like, I want a fucking tattoo from you. I have like one shitty tattoo, and I've thought about
I do a lot of people's first real, like some people will have like a tiny little heart, and like I'll give them like a first real tattoo, but it's like one of my favorite things.
Lotus flower. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like, it's like nothing. It's like, oh, I found it online. But I'm like, I just want, it's like, you know what? I could see this about you, is that I bet people want it just because it's you. They're like, I want a little piece of you on me.
Yeah, sometimes
that's why I let you ruin my couch. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
never gonna let it go
for 2 hours. No, and you shouldn't, because it's a wonderful story.
but I mean, that was exactly it. Like I wanted it from him, because there's just like an energy about you that, was in my like laundry list of things of why I think you're so great. You know what I mean? And I was like, if I can have a little bit of that with me all the time, that's going to make me happy when I look at it, Well,
that's what I say to people a lot when they get tattoos, is I'm like, listen, this is going to be the best fucking experience ever. And we're going to do it based on how you feel and how you want this to go, because you're going to look at this motherfucker forever and you're going to see my face in it. And if you look at this thing and you hate the person behind it, you're going to hate the tattoo. And eventually you're going to want to cover it up. And I think a lot of people don't even realize sometimes that like the older tattoos they want to get rid of, it's partially because like they didn't have a connection with their artist, and like somebody put something permanently on their body, and it wasn't like this beautiful shamanistic ritual. It was like, sit in the fucking chair and don't say anything until I'm done. And like, I'm going to throw this metal on, even though you like only like K-pop. You know what I mean? That's fucking awful. Like you're trying to put someone in the most tense scenario of their whole life and then make it worse. And so my thing is like, let's make this the best experience ever. Like literally, like when you get the adrenaline rush, when you're done, like you'll think you've just gone through some sort of spiritual thing, because I think you have. That's the way it feels to me. And so a lot of people connect with that, and then also connect with like my actual designs. And then a lot of people are also just like, I just, you're the tattooer I choose. So just like put this little script on me. And like, they're like, is that okay? It's not very artistic. And I'm like, maybe no, I just like the fact that I get to have this interaction with you, So.
Isn't that, I know, didn't you just feel like cared for, like the hug of the mom that died? I felt.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not like you never had to win me over, but you definitely won me over. I mean, it's just like, it wasn't like a game to see, but it's like, God damn. So now is like probably my favorite part, where you tell us things about us that you're jealous of.
Well, first of all, I'll go with you, Eve. I'm jealous of that beautiful piece of furniture behind you.
No, you can't do the furniture.
No, listen.
It's a fireplace.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm even more fucking jealous of it. Where do you live? I'm in Brooklyn Heights.
I'm in Brooklyn Heights. It's not my apartment. I'm leaving.
I'm also jealous. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, but if we're gonna focus on you, I'm jealous of your beautiful, beautiful hair, because I've been going through some hair loss scenarios recently, which is why I started cutting my own hair, because I was like, ooh, do I want to be on like one medication for the next 30 years that probably like doesn't fucking do anything, or do I want to just like adjust for the fact that I'm balding? And so I think a lot about hair, and I see other people's hair more than I used to, and I'm like, you have such glorious hair. And
I really do.
What if it was mine?
Well, I'll trade you some of my hair for a tattoo,
Oh my God, yes, make me a wig girl. Yeah. Okay, Katharyn, I'm jealous that you lived out my fantasy that I thought I was. So the reason why I moved to New Orleans to do this big job that I didn't have a contract for and ended up being homeless and in $15,000 of debt was because I ended my engagement with the man I was supposed to marry. And I very much thought that I was going to marry this dude. And then it turned out that he was trying to sabotage my whole fucking life. And there was a lot of other things, so I had to get out. But it was a whirlwind romance. It was literally a year front to back. Like, he proposed to me on the first fucking night we met, and I said yes. And then I was like, whoa. Like, we need to like he lived in LA, I lived in New York at the time. I was like, we need to pump the brakes. You need to get me a ring. We need to do this the right way. And within like 2 months, this motherfucker had done it. And like we were engaged and living together in New York. And he had moved me into a new apartment. And like I was living this life that I thought was what I wanted. And then it slowly, well, no, rapidly unraveled in front of me. And it kind of like my 2020 started in June of 2019, as I was going through the most amazing professional highs that I'd ever been through. I was also going through this low point. And so for Katharyn, I feel like you, with your beautiful husband, you've done it. Yeah, and I'm so profusely jealous when you sent that announcement. When you sent that announcement that was like, "Go, come on Instagram Live," I was like, "Ha, bitch got pregnant." I like legit thought it was gonna be some bullshit gender reveal party or something, and instead it was a beautiful wedding. And I was like,
Aw.
"I'm so happy for you," and I'm crying tears of extreme jealousy right now.
Oh, my one regret is that you couldn't be there in person, so I could wipe
I
your
wish
tears
that
for you. But, no.
But yes, I mean there are a million other things I'm jealous of. You know, your beauty and your brains and your wit.
Oh,
but
thank you.
that particular thing stood out because we had such a funny parallel there with that.
Yeah.
Except mine crashed and burned and yours didn't.
It's TBD. Who knows?
Right.
You know?
I mean, here we are.
Like,
waiting,
life is
waiting
long,
to the edge of our
everybody.
seat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to plug? Can you plug your Instagram or plug whatever you use online? Like,
Sure. Yeah, my Instagram is Kevin William Reed. Reed with 2 E's, like the plant, not like the book. At just with the at symbol in front, you know, because it's Instagram.
oh my God, crazy.
Yeah. And then KevinWilliamReed.com is someplace else you can go, and it has prints and drawings and other stuff from a while back. And if you follow either of those things, you'll see an announcement about my sculpture gallery, which is Gallery Ground in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and also in LA. And we're doing some really cool stuff coming up too, but that'll all be announced later.
I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you too. Ruth is wrong. You're great.
Yeah, Ruth is wrong.
No, Ruth and I are just not compatible people. It's fine.
Yeah.
We may share all the same genes, but it just didn't work out.
That's a very mature outlook, though. You know what I mean? A lot of people like end up in therapy for 25 years and they still.
Oh, I mean, I ended up in therapy for like 5 years.
I was like, why would you not? It's like, yeah, other people, you know, talk to people about it. It's good that you're just swallowing your pain. No, it's great. It's great.
No, I'm definitely a therapy human. I condone it for everyone, regardless of problems.
Same. Well, if you listen to this, if you made it this far, you better fucking subscribe because
seriously, guys,
I'm gonna track you down and I'm gonna know who you are and I'm just gonna feel really rejected. That's how I'm gonna punish you.
I'm just gonna give you these eyes.
Yeah. Oh, why would you not subscribe?
Why would you?
And follow the
you thought
podcast.
I was gonna beat you up?
No, I would never.
Cry.
I would just make you see how sad I look. And follow the podcast Instagram at Everyone's Doing Better. Follow Katharyn at Ew Girl You Nasty on Instagram also. And then follow me at Eve Elbow. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was cute, ladies.
Yeah.